Hello. And you guys are all strangers to us. And with that in mind, we would love for you to just come to the channel, subscribe, and no longer be strangers. And if your name happens to be, I don't remember, Tamara, we're looking for you especially. So if your name's Tamara, subscribe.
If you know any Tammys, we'll take that.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole time before we started this, I was like, is that how you pronounce the name? I completely forgot how she pronounces it. I think it's Tamara, but yeah.
Do you know anybody young named Tammy or Tamara or anything like that?
No. They're all older people for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay. Let's think about that for a minute. But okay, hello everyone. Popcorn Podcast, Coleman, Draven. Old people names on young
It's weird.
children
It's
are
weird.
very weird.
It just seems like they just spawn as an adult.
Well, because like there's some names that like were popular back then that are never going to be popular again, so they only exist on old people. So
Yeah.
in that way, it makes sense. So you're not going to name
Something like Coleman.
a child Archibald or something. You know, what
Dude,
I
that'd be a
mean?
sick name. That was a bad example. That's a kick-ass name. I'm just saying.
Okay, I'm sorry. You know,
That's a bad example, dude. I'm gonna name my son that.
that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I'm going to name my kid Godzilla. Anyway,
Didn't you already?
I wish I could. I wish I was allowed to legally do that.
I mean, you could.
I mean,
It's just, would you be allowed?
have we talked on the podcast before about how when we were watching Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla is credited in the credits of the movie as himself on like the Amazon like pop-up display at the bottom of the screen, like if you like it says the actors that are in the screen.
That's kind of cool that Godzilla exists in
Godzilla
real life, though.
Godzilla as
Yeah.
Godzilla. Yeah, I thought it was so funny. Yeah. Anyway, so
But no one's seen him, though, in real life that I'm aware of, because we would be doing pretty big news on that. So I guess we could just call him a stranger.
You know,
I'm
it's
sorry.
yeah,
Maybe his real name's Tamara.
yeah. Godzilla.
He did,
Godzilla.
before he knocks down your entire building, you just hear. And he's like,
Yeah. He's actually like the number one stranger. Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yep, he is. He's like the kingfish.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
What a collab we just made. It's just the last
Honestly-
movies we watched were the Godzilla movies. So.
Yeah.
So Strangers here. This is the original one that came out like early 2000s, and
And you
I
can
wanna-
tell, flip phones and all.
okay, yeah, I
Okay.
saw a tweet where someone was talking about them being in museums. They were in like a museum and they had a bunch of the old phones that we grew up with. Kind of
Yeah,
sad,
that
like
is
flip
sad.
phones being there. But no, this movie I've seen before. I actually watched it probably like 2 months ago, maybe 3, for the first time ever. Funny story that I
I've never
could
seen
talk about. Like I said, you've never seen it. Funny story is my mom, she watched this on Halloween night when I was in the house, just me and her, and she watched it or whatever, and she thought the movie was really scary, especially like back then. And it was just us on Halloween night, and we have like upstairs or whatever. So we went upstairs. My mom put me to bed. I was a little kid, and then 20 minutes later, my mom comes back and she goes, "Hey, did you go downstairs?" And I'm like, "No, why?" And then she's like, "All the lights are turned on for some reason, and no one's in the house." So my mom's like flipping out because she just watched this Strangers movie about people breaking into a house and like, antagonizing them and then, tying them up and 2 people stabbing them.
Yeah.
So like, I was flipping out, but I mean, here we are. We're both alive. We're good. But
That's good. I
good,
mean,
fun story that's tied to this movie that I felt was kind of relevant. But yeah, you've never seen this movie, so
yeah,
Well,
I've never seen this movie. The closest I've ever gotten to seeing this movie was seeing these movies pop up in the search results for The Visit, which is the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
me
and-
just diving into the oven.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I mean, I like this movie.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was one of those movies that ultimately, though, it felt once again like a popcorn.
Like-
Like you could tell. Like, I feel like we've had a lot of those movies, so I feel like it's
Lost its meaning.
it's lost its meaning
Yeah,
to say
yeah.
it. But like
Like half the movies we watch
horror
were like,
and action are the 2 genres that is like most blatantly used for, and those are like the 2 genres we've really dove into.
yeah, because that's like my side of the coin, the horror, and then your
Yeah,
side, the action.
yeah.
We blend together with that. So, I mean, that's fair.
But like, I mean, I don't know. Like this movie does a lot right. This movie does some things wrong.
Yeah, going into this, like I said, we were battling between two movies on what to watch, but the one that was like the other side of the coin with this which was Malignant or whatever. I've watched already, which granted,
Rock, the Rock Johnson.
the Rick and Morty meme where Rick says that and then he like deletes Morty's memory because he said granted wrong. He's like, take that for granted, and then he's just like, did you say granted? You mean granted? And he's like, oh, you think that's funny, do you? And he like wipes his memory. That's me right now. That means you're Morty. I'm Rick. I'm the real G.
I thought that.
Anyway.
Morty, we need to record the podcast, Morty.
Oh, jeez, Rick. Oh, jeez.
Morty, I need to beat my girlfriend, Morty.
Oh no.
We're watching Strangers, Morty.
Oh, jeez.
They try to break into the house, Morty. They're already in there, Morty.
Oh, jeez, Rick. Can't we just call on the phone? This is so stupid.
Cut the lines, Morty. Idiot.
Anyway, what was I talking about before Rick and Morty?
Granted.
Yeah.
Take it for granted. Something. You took something. For
Yeah,
granted.
we were talking about Malignant and how it was the other option.
Oh, yeah.
And you and Tori didn't watch this movie, so I felt like it was interesting to watch this one since neither of you watched this one.
Yeah.
And she watched
Malignant is apparently good, right?
Yeah, it's really
and
good.
I fell asleep for that too. So don't, Blood and Honey 2, don't take it personally. Scream 3, take it personally.
All right, don't
Take it
diss my
personally.
franchise,
I
buddy.
purposely went to sleep for that one. There's a difference.
Oh, you're about to be in the next Stab movie.
I'm going to stab you here. This is a movie.
Draven.
You just pull off the skin of your face, and it's just a.
It's a different person.
No, it's just your skull, and you're just like, Draven.
I mean, or it's just my Ghostface costume. Ghostface just gearing up.
All right.
He wears skin suits now. That'd be a weird thought. Ugh.
Okay.
Oh, anyway.
Let's get to this movie because
Yeah.
I got thoughts.
Okay.
We got thoughts.
So, with that in mind, with bringing up Malignant and this and choosing between the two, I chose this one because...
Malignant, this.
Yeah, because... This movie I didn't know how you would react to, actually. I actually wasn't... Usually when I give you, like, a recommendation, I'm like, all right, they're going to like it. Or they're at least going to be like, all right, it was fun at least.
Yeah.
This one, I wasn't sure how you would react because it's a little slower. And it's more atmospheric than it is, like, slashy, like, get into the, scenes with, like, that stuff. So this one I wasn't sure how you were going to take it. So thus, I'm going to lay it on the ground and let you go with it now. And what you think.
It's so funny that you were worried about that because I feel like, although I am the one who's taken us to the action genre,
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like the horror movies and the stuff that I've brought forward have always been these slower, more methodical pieces for the most part.
I guess that's fair. Maybe I'm just projecting myself onto
I
you.
think
'cause
you are.
I
I
like
think-
slashers more like fast-paced stuff.
Yeah, I mean, because like this is like my jam. Like, and
Okay.
a lot of don't get me wrong, balls to wall action, love it.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to stuff like this, like man, I really enjoyed a lot of the time it took. There were a few points where it got like a little. It felt exaggerated. It felt like I was like, okay, we're one scene away from being like a Scream joke.
Okay.
Like too long. That like she's like. She is really unsure that there's someone out there for a little too long.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like she's hiding in the corner of the house, but everybody already knows she's in that corner of the house.
Yeah.
So she's really not hiding, and she just smashed the lamp off the ground, and she's screaming, but she's apparently trying to hide, and it doesn't make sense. But at the same time, it's like, it worked.
I want to say that, like, it really works with this movie. Like, there are, again, like you said, there's some scenes that are a little, like, ridiculous with some of the stuff that it does. But I think what really capitalizes this movie with that, and, like, you can just look over it with this one especially, is because that this movie, the killers aren't really, like, out to, like, one and done them and run away, you know? They're toying with the
That was
victims
the
here.
most interesting part.
You know, they're just like, you see scenes where like the one girl's like swinging on the swings and just kind of like looking at her, and then
Yeah.
you have like, the guy just sitting in the background staring at her in the shadows, and he's like, and he just walks away. You got like a bunch of those scenes where they're really toying with them.
Yeah.
So I really like that aspect. And the thing that I like about this movie, again, other than I've already said, the atmosphere being really good. Because if you, I know, we baby running around, you got, you blowing bubbles, got a little crazy in there. But as a person who watched this for the first time at his house by himself,
Oh, this movie has great atmosphere.
the atmosphere is like, especially if you're like just focused in on it, it is so good.
Well, my favorite thing that movies or pretty much anything in the horror genre can ever do is it gives you something in the foreground to look at that's still interesting.
Yeah.
So what I mean is like when she's scrambling around trying to figure out a way to call Jamie, you're paying attention to her, but then you soon realize, like you said, there's the guy in the background, and like at first the mask is the only thing that's visible, and it works really well. And that's when it's like, I love when the movie or the TV show, and for example, like the Haunting of Hill House is another great example of a show.
Okay.
Where they just appreciate that the viewer is going to notice these things.
Yeah.
Even though in this one, it wasn't so hard to not see. Like, it wasn't like these things were hidden.
Yeah.
Like, it was very clear.
You're not going to go back and catch something you missed.
Right. No,
There-
it's not like that. It's going to make it clear by the end of the scene, but at the same time, it's like, it really lets it linger for long enough, maybe sometimes even out of focus in a way that's like, oh, this is about to be good, it's about to be good. And just like they're toying with the victims, or two protagonists, they're also toying with
Us,
the
the
viewer
viewers.
in the way that, oh, he's going to sneak up behind her and kill her, or they're going to sneak up behind him and kill him. No, they're not out to do that. They're out to, psychologically torment these people.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And it's kind of like the scene where she's like in the closet towards the end, and then you have like the guy with the mask.
Just like you.
Oh, we got a funny guy here. Maybe, you don't know. Anyway, you got this guy walking toward the closet with the dude with the mask. His name? I don't know if his name. I don't know what their names are, honestly. I know one's like Pin.
the doll.
Yeah, like the Pin Up or whatever. They have names, but they don't really matter.
It said it in the credits. The
But-
doll.
Doll face or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the potato sack man, he's walking in and like just going straight towards her where she's like hiding in the closet, right? And then just like me, when I go on break at work, he just does a straight 90-degree turn and then just sits down at a table and he just sits there. He's like, oh. And then after his break's over, he gets up and then instead of going to the closet, he just walks out of the room.
Classic.
And then like after that, the girl one shows up and then actually goes for her in the closet. And
Yeah.
then after she breaks down the closet, she doesn't even
She
like
leaves,
she,
yeah.
she just leaves. So like that stuff is really cool because it's playing with us. Like you're like, oh, okay, they're gonna jump at this moment, but then they don't. But then they do it later in a moment where you're like, oh god, caught me off guard a bit because
Right.
they throw these fake balls at you. And with that in mind, I think it really plays well with the viewers and the characters in the movie. I will say, when talking characters, the killers are really cool, and I'm sure we'll watch the second one if you like this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down.
The killers are really cool.
It may be a few weeks, but we can do it. I'm
Okay.
down.
I'm gonna say the killers are awesome. I actually like their designs. I like just them. They don't have a motive in this movie, right? They just kill people to kill
I thought
people.
not the blonde,
The other
but
girl.
the other one, underutilized.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Because I
And-
was like, there for a while. I was like, man, I know there's more than two of
Two.
them, but I was like, I don't know how many there are because like all the scenes with her were either lackluster or very rare. So I was like, are there 3? Are there 4?
the only
It was just the third one that I hardly recognized.
the only moment she really has is the truck scene. Where She just like full on like crashed
Pretty
derbies
much.
into her
Yeah.
or into his car. Which I will say that for the next movie, it's the exact same way. The other two are stars of the show, and she's kind of just there.
Really.
But other than that, what do you think of like? So since I like the killers, what do you think of the two main characters here?
Okay.
That's where I wanted to really dive into what you thought of that.
How do I say this? I feel like
Oh, is he gonna get a little roasty with it?
yes and no. Because ultimately, it's never one person that fails when something like this happens. But Liv Tyler, the girl, her her whisper, yell, delivery, anytime they go outside, she's like, Jamie, come back. It sounds like she's talking to herself, and they've superimposed it over the video, so it carries over. And it's really weird. It's really bizarre. So anytime they're outside and she's trying to talk to someone, that's weird. With the guy, I feel like he was... This is more of a character, not a performance thing. But there's for sure a scene where he's like, nah, babe, you're being crazy. They didn't steal your phone. He goes outside and sees his tires slashed, his windows busted open, his windshield cracked the fuck out, his wires cut to his car, and his phone is missing from his car. And then he comes back inside. He says, you probably just misplaced it.
Yeah, he did. He did say that. She's like, I was charging it, and then it disappeared from where I put it. And then he's like, it was in the bag. And she's like, it's not in the bag.
So, I mean, it's like...
That'd be me and you.
Yeah, but I would be whichever one was right. So, anyway...
Okay.
I just wanted to, say, it's like... I mean... I get that she just rejected you in marriage and all.
Yeah.
But it's like, how right do you need to be in this moment? And
I mean, hey man, you gotta take the dub or you can take the dub.
Also, another thing, this guy didn't want to have a road trip home with this woman, but he was still trying to lay pipe. He didn't want to take the trip home with her, so he had the friend come to pick him up.
Oh, they have the one scene where like he like puts her up on like the table or whatever.
Yeah.
Then it gets interrupted by the.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that they didn't. He was trying to.
He was trying to.
And then the door went. and
then they got asked if Tamara was home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep rethinking that if that's right. I think it's right.
Yeah.
If not, I'm.
It's either Tamara or Tamara. I don't remember.
I think it's Tamara.
It's spelled. It's just a tomato type shit.
Well, guess what? We got to be correct, or we're gonna get flamed for it.
IDGAF.
So you think the characters were mediocre then? Like they were decent, but like there was some over the top stuff like the whispering and certain set pieces.
I feel like they were neutral at best, and counterproductive at worst.
So our main girl here is no final girl of the year.
Final girl in the sense that she lived?
No,
yes.
Just in general. Like if we're ranking her, is she going on the top SS? Iconic.
Yeah. I wouldn't say SS too proudly there, buddy.
Why?
My goat, Kanye, could hear you. Okay, he's gonna come over here and give you a hug.
Kanye, who hasn't made a good song since Power. Ooh, he's really gonna get me. I'm sorry.
I'm baffled that you just said that to me. Anyway, continue talking about
the characters.
SS. Okay,
SS. Right. I don't know what that means.
It's Nazis, dude.
Oh.
The SS.
Oh yeah,
That's
right.
why I was like, I don't know.
Well, like SS and like tier list usually go. I guess SS and then S and then A, B, C. I guess most people just do S, but I'm thinking like SS for like your top tier, and then your.
That's S plus.
What? That's the same thing.
No, whatever. It's very different.
Whatever.
Very different.
Fucking, you're the one who's a Kanye fan, so if anyone's anything like that, it's him.
Did you see? Okay. Kanye side tangent. Okay, maybe can't be my goat anymore after this one. Not sure. This may be where I draw Jews.
Oh, the Nazis were fine, but let's see.
Okay, first off, if he would have just said even Hitler instead of especially Hitler, everything would have been fine.
Every say.
But anyway, what I really wanted to say was there's this he's getting sued by a former employee right now.
Okay.
And the employee alleges a couple different things, and some of them are more heinous than the others. And I'm not really here to talk about my goat like that. However,
my goat like that.
What I am gonna say though is allegedly he threatened to beat up this employee, but he said, "I'm gonna give you another chance." And then he imitated the Mario victory dance and said, "Another life." Okay. And I'm just like,
okay.
What could one man do with all that power?
I'm gonna drown myself like Sonic.
No one man should have all that power.
I don't want to live anymore after hearing that.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're fucking Kanye garbage.
I got Kanye and I got Godzilla in here. That's all I need.
Oh my god, we got Scream in here too, so I guess I'm
We're good. We're good.
Yeah. Character-wise, like I said, the Killers I really like. I like them.
It's a good band.
They're really. gonna kill myself.
I'm Mr. Brightside.
We're top tier on Fortnite leaderboards for the festival. Just saying. So the killers I do like. They all, like I said, you said the one. Shut up!
I was gonna do it again. My brain is so broken, dude.
The one is underutilized, sure, but I think that their presence is really spoopy. They definitely have that fear factor to them.
Do you like or dislike that we didn't really find out that much about them?
I like it.
You like that?
And I like how they get away in this movie. They don't.
Well, yeah, because they thought they won.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. Like they didn't push anything further because they're like, we did it. We'll do better next time. And that's like a cool tease.
I was gonna say I like that they got away with it. In most movies, they get killed immediately at the end of the movie, and then one person stands tall, aka the final girl. In this movie, the girl screams, and you assume she lives, but like I told you before, spoiler, she's not in the next movie. So, I mean, we're getting new movies like the chapters that are supposed to be like prequels to this first movie. I believe.
So there's movies, plural?
Right now, there's just the two. But I told you they're making those chapter things that are coming out like this year and next year or whatever.
Oh, so
those are prequels.
Okay, I knew that you said there was there's this chapter 1 thing or whatever. I didn't know there were multiple planned.
I think there's 3 planned.
Oh, what the fuck?
And they're supposed to I think they're all prequels. I think they're all prequels before the first movie. So maybe we'll learn more about our characters here.
I haven't seen the second one, so I can't speak on how they end up. I mean, they could all die in the next one for all I know. So
I was gonna say I won't tell you what happens in the second one because I want to see your reactions. But for this one, like I said, the characters I do like this, that the killers aren't really told, like they're just there to be a presence and they do their job. They're spoopy. They kill the people. Technically, they leave her alive, but they thought she was gonna die anyway because they took the phone and she was bleeding out. So that stuff awesome. I thought they were all really good, and technically, like I said, this movie is based on a true story. I don't know how much of the movie is altered, but home invasions and stuff happen like this all the time, right? So
haven't had any stories written about mine.
Well, when that girl comes back.
Oh my God.
But the actual characters we're with, though, like on the good side of things, I agree. They are kind of mediocre. They're average. The guy's all right. None of their acting's bad. I do think that some little things are a little over the top, like the whispering thing. I agree with that.
It just took me out so bad.
Some of their deliveries were a little weird.
Yeah.
And whether they were told to deliver it like that or just the way it came off was just kind of funky.
Another thing, coming from like the way the scenes were like shot and everything, I wasn't too impressed with a lot of the quick cuts. So like, okay, we haven't spoiled the movie. We've spoiled the movie bad enough. That's fine. When the friend comes in and gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that happens. Then it jumps very quickly over to Jamie, who's just shot the gun.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a jarring transition. I don't know. It was just really weird. And yeah, I don't know. It just was really weird how they did some of their cuts in this movie. But overall, I thought the movie flowed really well from a visual perspective, and even the lighting of this movie. It's a very dark movie, but like even outside and everything, you can see really well. So like,
it's not Blood and Honey 1, where you literally couldn't see the movie at all. You literally couldn't see a single scene.
Tell you what, halfway through Blood and Honey 2, it went dark for me.
Yeah, because you closed your eyes.
Yeah.
You went to bed.
I woke up.
Yeah, you woke up for the boob scene, which, culture. The rave scene was kind of cooking.
I'm sorry. I did definitely interrupt you and take you off course on that, but before...
No, I was just going to like finalize the characters wise. Like, I liked them. I thought they did their job well as far as like our main cast of like heroines or whatever. Heroines.
I prefer crack.
I mean, hero? Is that how you say it?
Heroines?
That's the one. Listen, I'm a druggie, so I mean that's just on the mind. Look at me.
Seek help.
Sorry, but the tangents are so good. They're so stupid, just like you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
You've angered the last Airbender. Okay, listen here.
In Fortnite.
I have a new calling in life, and no, this is not a penis on my forehead or on my head. Okay, it's actually a calling to where I am.
You're Aang.
I don't know what that means. I've never seen Avatar.
That's the bald, like the kind of bald one.
The guy with the arrow on his head?
Yes.
Is he a guy or is he a kid? Which one is he?
The kid in the original at first.
So who's the old guy I see people post about all the time that's got the arrow on his head?
I don't know. It's been forever since I've seen Avatar, dude. But
Right.
like in the original, I don't know.
Avatar doesn't make sense to me. Also, I found out that that one girl and that other girl are different people.
Yeah, the Korra or whatever, and yeah, I know. what
Those
you're
are the
talking
same person. They're water people.
about. I mean, we're the same person. We look
We
just
are.
alike.
Hello, my name is Draven Bowen.
I'm Colby
My
Cox.
social security number is 7.
My IP address is 4. I don't know.
Lit. We just
So,
dox each other in 1941.
I mean, you can have my
More like 1860.
You can have my $2. Go for it. So the characters, I want to say that the final girl in this movie, she is no Sydney Prescott. You know, she's not changing any ranks for me for like tier list of girls. She's kind of on the low tier of things for me. She did her job well, but she didn't really fight back.
She beat Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Oh yeah,
Oh
dude.
my god. I know what you did last summer, and the third act is just Jennifer Love Hewitt screaming and the other guy getting slashed up on the boat, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what that whole thing was.
Yep.
Her
pretty
and
much.
like the ice. You remember the ice scene?
Oh
Or
my
she's like in the
God.
ice.
And then the body's there.
Yeah, and she's like, ah! And then she gets out of the ice and he's like right there and she's like, ah! The whole movie at the end is just her screaming.
I hate it.
Oh, you love it. And we're watching the reboot, remake, whatever the heck ends up happening. So, this movie, what did you think of? We kind of jumped around with characters.
We've jumped
and
around with a
everywhere.
lot
At
of
the
things.
end, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but what did you think of like the setup of like, you know, him proposing to her and then like them going to like his father's like vacation home that she's never been to, and then like, you know, when she's by herself, she's in a place she's never been at, like that idea while getting stalked, and then also, you know, just the whole setup with, you know, him having to be with her when he gets rejected.
See,
Like how was the first like 10% or like 15% of the movie for you?
it was fine. I mean, like, it did its job, but, like, it kind of tells it in a slightly non-linear fashion. Like, it kind of does, like, quick little flashbacks to the proposal and a little bit of, like, just the
And-
right before.
And we all know how much this man loves flashbacks. So
I mean, I just think in a situation like this, it's just, like, you could have just started at the proposal.
yeah, and then
There's
coulda-
there's no, like, story value
Yeah,
to telling it in a non-linear
Linear
fashion.
path,
I
yeah.
just don't see the point of it. This isn't a deep story.
Yeah, because realistically, they could have just started them like the scene where they flash back at the party. Could have been at the party.
Yeah.
They went out to the parking lot. That happened, and they're like they drive to that like the red light, like it showed
Yes,
off. Yeah, they easily
yes.
could have just put those together. But
That didn't make sense to me, but everything that happened was fine. Like, I actually like the setup of, like, this couple at odds in this very tumultuous time. I wish they would have leaned into it further. Actually, like,
well, once you're getting hunted, I mean, I don't think you really care.
no, but like they could have played into the paranoia of like, oh, well, this person's just like this person who's just betrayed me, or this person who I've let down is untrustworthy in this moment for one reason or the other, and like, with the guy having history there as like that's like his family home or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Maybe
really
they can like a setup or something.
I thought they were gonna lean into it that like he was being targeted because his family did something, like, or just some kind
like some
of
underlining meaning or something.
Why them being there matters.
But that's what the thing is, no motive. They even say just because you were home. They just go around and just kill people at night, whoever's home and answers the door. About the Tamara question. That's kind of just how they roll. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you much about the second one, but it kind of crosses over where they don't really have a motive. They just kill.
I mean, I respect it.
And, I think that's a double-edged sword. Some people may be like, ugh, stupid. There's no motive. There's no plot to that. That's dumb. Or you have the other side of the story where, insert Billy from Scream. Sometimes it's scarier when they don't have a motive,
Right.
like,
yeah.
Why did Hannibal Lecter eat people? Did he have a reason? No. I'm just quoting Billy now.
Didn't need one. But yeah, I don't know. I just like that opening bit of the movie. It wasn't bad. It sets up the rest of the movie, which the plot
It's
kind of goes out the door a little bit. I mean,
There's
it
not really
turns
a plot.
it turns into a third act of another movie.
yeah,
The rest of the when 80% of this movie is the third act of a different movie, just the third act of a different movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it does devolve the actual plot line a little bit, but what it does, and it's in those later parts where I wish maybe if you would have spaced out those flashbacks, if you had to have them, you could have done it out a little more. Like, oh, like maybe she remembers the proposal and like she thinks back on her time with her man, and then when they reunite, it's actually a touching moment or something. Like,
yeah,
something like that.
some emotional.
Like a little bit more of an
Yep.
emotional resonance, but ultimately this movie is carried by the atmosphere, especially in that first third of the movie. And it continues throughout to some degree, but it's strongest when you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, like when they first show up, that's
Yes.
when it gets real good. And then,
Yeah.
like I said,
The movie is worth the time alone, if nothing else, for a watch through for that tension, that nervousness. But I wish it played into other emotions as well as having more of a plot resonance.
I think you summed it up pretty well because, like you said, you got your first 20% being like your startup of the movie, whatever, and
Yeah.
plot, and then literally the rest of it is just the third act of a movie because they're always getting chased. There's always like them hiding from things or trying to like figure out how to get out of the situation. Stuff you would normally see at the very end of a third act, like the big house and they're running around. That's what this whole movie is. And
Yeah.
like I said, that is a double-edged sword. Some people I've seen a lot of people love this movie for that reason because it's
Right.
very atmospheric. And I mean, there's not a lot of movies that really focus on the atmosphere over the plot. This one definitely went for that. And I salute that. I actually, like I said, watching it for the first time at home by myself and like just in my own, like, I'm not gonna lie, it was one of the few movies that I was kind of like, oh man, this is kind of spoopy. If someone knocks on my door and or someone drives up my driveway right now, I'm probably gonna bust out the Glock.
Yeah.
So like, with the story with my mom and everything, like I get it. Especially back when it first came out and like this, it was based on a true story that happened. I imagine recent at the time.
Right.
Like, it happens.
Right.
So, with that in mind, the only thing I want to bring up is the best character in the movie, which is the best friend.
Oh my god. What was his name? Zach, I think, or something like that.
All I'm saying is that man was going in. He drives up right and he calls his best friend. He didn't pick up. He's like, "Hey man," he's like, "I'm here early. I
Walks
felt
into-
bad."
yeah.
And then one of the freaking peeps, the killers, strangers, throws something into his windshield. And normally people would probably be like, "Oh, I am out." But this
Right.
man, he did get out of his car.
Yeah. Walks into the house. He I think he walks in armed with something, and then
Yeah, he
he's
picks
got
up like a weapon.
Mama Try just playing in the background. That's nice, and then,
I love that the way it's shot though, where like he's walking down the hall just so slowly, and you see like the guy behind him, and he's like slowly picking up his axe, and you're like, "Oh, he's about to get axed, bro."
Yep.
And then he stops, and the music stops. You're like, "Oh, here it comes!" And then he just continues walk. Bam.
Bam. Yep.
Like, not gonna lie, the first time I watched it, didn't see it coming.
Right. Yeah, I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah, I was just like, wow.
So stuff like that's really cool too.
That's honestly the last thing I had to really talk about for the movie, other than final verdict, unless you have something specific. But that's kind of the whole movie because the plot is basically, husband proposed, didn't work out, killers.
Right.
And then, of course, the ending with the kids showing up, them giving like the pamphlet to him. It's like, "Are you a sinner?" And she's like, "Sometimes, sometimes we do a little killing."
Last night, yeah. Today, not so much. We're good. We're chill. We are in good graces.
You
with
think they're
God.
religious then? Like they go kill people and then they go and they like
They
confess
pray.
their sins.
Oh my god. I mean,
And then they're like,
I'm not gonna
"All right."
say it. Yeah.
What?
Nothing. I just don't want to offend like a third of the world's population. I guess I've already said stuff about all the other religious.
Okay.
Theocracies.
You already said you supported Hitler a second ago.
I
so-
did not even remotely say that. What? But I got a couple things
Go for
I
it.
want to talk about, but it's going to be on the episode we're about to record. By the way, we're doing another episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but to keep things nice and succinct for this episode,
All right. Final verdict.
final verdict.
All right.
I think I've already said everything about this movie critically that I need to say,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like with that being said, I want to give this movie. If you go into it knowing, again, that popcorny nature, I think you can walk away from this movie having a really good time. I think you can get away with like a 6.5 for
Okay.
this movie. I really,
All right.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. And that's a 6.5 is kind of where a movie like this would top out, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it would have to be like perfectly shot, perfectly acted. Everything would have to be perfect for it to get anywhere between like a 7 and an 8. And quite frankly, I just don't see a movie like this ever getting a 10.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I don't think this movie would ever be a 10 in any scenario.
Yeah.
We're not IGN over here. We're not going to rate everything a 9 out of 10, and then when something, when something good comes along, you rate it like a 3, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't really agree that 8s, 9s, and 10s are the good scores, and then 7s or even 6s are bad. I think that mindset's kind of dumb. I think if it's
To me, a 4 is like the bottom tier of something that's okay.
okay, I agree.
Which is weird enough because if I saw a 4 on a video game score,
You'd be like, eesh.
I'd be like, ugh.
However, though, I feel like they've implemented that into our minds that if it's not a 8 or higher, it's bad.
it's graded on a
Yeah,
curve for sure.
exactly. And I don't agree with that, but I mean, it is what it is. So this movie, like I said, this is my second time watching it, and I know this is an acclaimed, really good classical movie from the early 2000s. A lot of people talk about this movie, and it's praised a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And some people would probably fight with both of us on this not being a 10. There is a
Really?
lot. Yeah, this movie is definitely seen as a very, very
People ride like that, huh?
yeah. This movie is definitely one of
Well,
them.
should have got more sequels then, huh?
And I get it. The atmosphere is really cool. Being based on some somewhat true events is also the top of the cherry on top of the cake or shake, whatever you're eating or consuming, and that makes it a little bit more spoopy, and the atmosphere and the vibe of it all. I just think that the characters themselves, like our main characters, are better in the sequel. It's funny enough because the atmosphere part, I actually was way into it more the first time I watched it, but I think I came out more this time liking it more the second watch than I did the first watch.
Which is interesting because usually something like that loses some
Yeah,
value.
the atmosphere obviously wasn't as scary to me this time because A, I've already watched it, and B, we were kind of in a room together, chilling, whatever. So I wasn't, and just in my own room, my own world, in the dark, watching it by myself. It's weird that I came out on top this time with a little bit more positive, which the first time I came out positive too because I wanted to recommend it. But I don't know. I just felt like I had more of a fun time just watching it again and seeing some of the stuff I may have missed. Like I said, there's not a lot of stuff you could miss, but I don't know, just rewatching it, refreshing my memory, I'm like, you know what? There's some stuff I actually liked about it that I don't remember liking about it the first time.
That's fair.
So, with all that in mind, the killers are awesome. Love the strangers. Really cool concept of villains with no motive. Awesome. I like it. And with that in mind, I'm probably just going to go a tiny bit higher than you with a 7. I think
7. Okay.
I think a 7's a really good spot for this. People will fight me for it. I think we'll see the second watch when we watch it. But for my first time watching the first and the second one, The Prey at Night or whatever it is, I actually kind of preferred the sequel over the original. I know that's a hot take for the Strangers fandom. There's just some really cool pieces. When you see the pool scene, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. That scene is iconic, and I see people talk about it all the time. So you may have even seen clips of it once we get there.
I feel like I've seen an image of it from probably the page for the movie or something. I don't know.
It's just Miami Beach pool themed.
Like
it's
neon lights?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You've probably seen pictures of it or something.
Yeah.
It's really cool. But I guess we'll see when we get there which one you like more. But I like this movie. It's a 7. I would definitely recommend people to watch it.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you for tuning into this episode.
And don't be a stranger. Subscribe.
Don't be a stranger. There's probably this is a 40-minute episode roughly. There's probably about 15 minutes of it talking about the movie. The other 25,
Kanye, Scream,
Did I-
Godzilla.
Yeah, I did that math right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's
yeah.
been a lot of other stuff we've talked about, even just one-liner tangents.
All I'm saying is, if you're Tamara, hit my TMs.
Where the Tammys at? Goodbye.